real topics.
Nah, dude, I think we gotta start right now. People are here. Let's do it.
Yeah, we're
Oh,
we're,
are
we're
there
in.
people here? Oh, okay.
All right,
And
go back to topic 1, and we'll kick it off with MLG. So right now, one of the biggest problems that the Brawl community is facing is that we've recently been declined permission by Nintendo to have a tournament on or off stream at MLG Anaheim in June. And that's a pretty big deal, considering that Brawl has been featured on every single one of the grassroots event circuits, all the qualifiers, and they're even on the MLG website for Melee. But Brawl is nowhere to be found because of Nintendo just doing their Nintendo thing. They're some sort of licensing issue, some sort of permissions issue. Now we don't really know what that is yet, and
yeah,
a lot
we
of
don't
people
know
have
for
been
sure.
and a lot of people have been tripping up over that, saying that we have no specific target for our efforts, but I really disagree with that. We need Nintendo to give us a target, quite frankly. We need them to make a statement, let us know what's going on. Why did they say yes only to Melee and not to any other Smash game? The issue is not limited just to Brawl. They said specifically only Melee. Anyway, the Smash community has already proven that we can reach them, we can convince them, and yeah, guys, what else do you have to say on this topic?
Well,
All right, so
Joe, you go for it. I know you, Joe, specifically want to talk about Free Super Smash Bros. As the hashtag, so I know you got a lot to say.
yeah, so I've been in talks with the guys that are hosting the grassroots program events through MLG and also Solid Jake, and it's notorious that Nintendo is difficult to work with in terms of collaborating with competitive events, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. At first, we were reaching out to Sega, Konami, and Nintendo, as well as MLG, but just recently Kojima said that he wants Solid Snake in Smash 4. So clearly this isn't a licensing issue with Solid Snake and Brawl, so we can rule that out. And it appears as though Sega has pretty strong ties with Nintendo moving forward with the game in Smash 4, so I think we can rule that out too. So now the question is, was a relationship falling through with Nintendo and MLG, or did MLG choose to drop Brawl from the circuit? Because
Which is definitely not the case.
Well, we don't know. We don't know. That could be the case. We don't know.
It could be the case, but let's be realistic here, guys. MLG was promoting like crazy for Shuffle. They've been supporting Brawl well before Melee has been taking off at a rocket ship pace. I don't think this has anything to do with Brawl's numbers declining or a business decision. I think this really comes down to the Big N and them having the final say in what goes down here. But to be honest, like we've said, it really doesn't matter right now if we get into MLG. One event doesn't define our success as a community, but what will define our success is how well we work together. And I just want to say kudos to you guys, but I'm also a little bit disappointed. Kudos to everyone for the strong numbers that we put out with hashtag FreeSSBB on the first and second day. I saw the Twitter report. I'm going to be releasing that once the podcast is over, so head to the Brawl Facebook page for the state of Brawl. But just so far from what I've seen, days 3, 4, 5, 6, and now almost a week now, 7, the numbers are declining, which means that our social media presence, it's going out with a little bit of a whisper. We talked about how important it is to get our voices heard and to make sure that people stay informed with what it is we're trying to say. Because, to be honest, the Brawl community in the past has struggled with reaching out to other companies and just networking in general. A lot of people have just kept all of their projects in-house, all of their tournaments in-house, and just working on building their own brands. But that's not how you build a successful community. I mean, look at Melee right now. They are literally the blueprint for what we can follow to grow. With the recent acquisition of the Melee division for Team Liquid, Evil Geniuses in talks with Dr. PP and Hungrybox over Twitter. Now, we don't know what that means, but it can only mean something good. Like, it's obvious that Melee is moving in the direction of esports, and companies are starting to take notice. And the reason why Melee is keeping up so much isn't just because of its amazing gameplay, but it's the community that's promoting it so well. Leaders like Prog D1, just shining examples of how to rally together a community and promote not only a message of positivity, but also of growth. People like Scar as well, just people that don't expect anything in return but put in so much for the scene. We need more people like that. More people that put their blood, sweat, and tears into these events and don't care about what they get in return. I think we're setting up a good precedent with Get On My Level. For those of you that aren't aware of the tournament series, it's the Canadian qualifier for MLG, and there's no venue fee, so I'm not making any profits from the event. Everything coming from out of pocket, and I just want people to know that there are genuine, hardworking people in the scene, and it's time that we start giving more support to those guys, because as a community, we've really struggled uniting for a cause and making our presence heard on social media. But this is the time right now where we can make one unit a reality, where it stops being just like an internet trend, an internet fad for one day, and it starts becoming a shift in mentality, a shift in culture, because that's what's important. Not just getting out strong numbers on day 1, 2, and 3.
Amen to that, dude. Dakota, any comments on that?
I mean, obviously Joe's correct on many levels there. I think it's going to take a lot of effort from a ton of different parties here, and I think the problem is that, and Prog has sort of brought this up before to us as well. It's hard to really just to rally around something that is very, you can't really touch it. It's not physical. Like, yeah, you can tweet the free SSB hashtag, but I feel like that's really, and you can watch this show or something like that. But I feel like with Melee, there's just way more centralization. It seems a lot more like clear how you can support Melee, where like when Melee was going to be at EVO, it was very clear, Spirit Bomb, breast cancer awareness, the donation drive. But with free SSBB, we're sort of in a situation where the decision has already been made, so we're sort of trying to counteract the decision rather than trying to influence this decision before it's been made. So we're in a really sticky situation, and I think that that makes the social media aspect more important now more than ever, because of the fact that MLG and Nintendo have sort of played their hand, and now we have to respond. It's not like we can't, this is something that, again, like we brought up last week, we should have been doing ever since Apex, and we sort of slacked, but it comes down to pushing every single day. It goes down to showing that Brawl is just as alive as Melee, as Smash 64, as PM. I don't see people making any, as much content for Brawl as they used to. We don't, where's the Brawl theory craft? Where's the Brawl gameplay videos or guides or all that kind of stuff? I think that's people really need to step up on that end. Where if nobody's making guides for Brawl, if no one's making videos about new tech or new techniques or new advanced stuff, it looks like Brawl's dead from that aspect. Not that it is, but that's what it'll look like. So I think if you all want to contribute, to free SSBB, it's not just tweeting the hashtag. It's acting as if Brawl is as live as Melee, if not liver. Like you should be fiending to put content out there, not like, oh, there's nothing really out there. What do I do?
Yeah, I very much agree. I think top players of their characters need to reflect upon, the true reality that the metagame is still evolving, which is going to bring us into our next topic after I just have a couple closing words to respond to you guys. Yeah, I mean, if you're a top player, if you're a commentator even, I mean, I fault myself here for slacking, but don't worry, content is on the way. Gonna get set up with that recording equipment, trying to
make ready, dude. The commentary is about to fire off.
Yeah, dude, make videos, make guides for your character, make guides for just the game in general, advanced techniques, basics, whatever. I mean, there's so much that is yet unexplained, and like there's so much lacking for low-level players to get their feet wet with the competitive scene. So I definitely agree with that. Dakota, people need to put out substantial content in order for people to get exposed to the game, to get interested enough in the competitive scene. Do interviews, do video recordings. I've said this on every stream, and like Joe, you're the inspiration for this, so shout outs to you for that again.
One love, man. One love. I do it for you guys. I do it for the community. I do it because I love it.
Yeah, the personal side of the community is so important to expose. That really could get so many people interested once you realize, hey, these are just some regular cool people, like I want to go hang out with them and get good at this game and learn from them, or like end up teaching them some things that I know. There's a lot to be found in not only gameplay but the people involved in this community. And Yeah, I'm gonna reiterate that I really don't think this is a Sonic or Snake issue. Sakurai and Kojima are like best friends.
Yeah,
I
but
don't think
it's not up
I
to
don't.
them who has the rights,
Yeah,
though.
oh no, of course, but I don't think Kojima is gonna like not let somebody push things for Smash 4, so, and I don't see why like it would be an obstacle for MLG. But even if it is, Nintendo still needs to give us some sort of guidance. They need to make a statement. They need to be like, "Hey guys, this is why Brawl wasn't here," and then we could respond from there. We could change our game plan if we have to, and we
Yeah,
probably will have to. But who knows? We got to get there somehow. So
yeah. It's
just try
important
to
that
get
we
their attention in any way.
it's important that we get that official statement, which I think we really need to really push for that because we really don't know what exactly it is. To be honest, what makes the most sense to me is that Nintendo has the sequel coming out, and Melee isn't the predecessor to Smash 4, so Melee getting hyped doesn't really, in Nintendo's eyes, probably affect anything. Melee's an old as hell game, but with Smash 4, maybe Nintendo thought that, oh, well, having Brawl there, people may not get Smash 4. We don't really know what Nintendo's like theory is or thoughts are on that.
Yeah,
Also,
don't you think we'd be helping them out a little bit by
Well,
having Brawl there?
I mean, they may not see it that way. And MLG, from a business perspective, it takes a lot of money to run these tournaments, and to add another game does cost a lot on their end. So it would make sense to me if MLG given the option, oh, hey, we're Nintendo MLG, we're gonna let you guys run Smash Bros with somebody Melee. MLG is probably not gonna, as I said last week, MLG's not gonna push for Brawl in that situation. And MLG's gonna take that all the way to the bank. Oh, we don't have to run Brawl. Okay, well, running Melee is probably easier. Just running Melee is probably gonna guarantee a higher attendance rate than having Brawl as well. So I don't know.
Yeah, we need to prove them wrong on that. We need to prove to MLG that even if we get less than Melee, that we at least have a substantial quantity, and that this game is not dead. Because the more people we get, the more people that will come in advance. Or I'm sorry, afterward.
Yeah, it's hard though.
This game is very far from dead.
You can't force people to go out to tournaments. I mean, we're at Collision, and Brawl had the least amount of entrants out of all the games. Brawl had 15 entrants. Melee and Project M, I believe, both broke over 30. I think Melee was like 32, PM was like 35 or something like that.
And that's really a shame, especially.
It is a shame. It is a shame.
The weekend following all of this. If this is how Brawl players are going to respond to it, that's a shame, man. But like, you guys need to keep supporting online and offline. You guys can't, I know that you all care about this game. If you all of you say, oh, whoever does say let it die, it's dead. I see you at a tournament every other week. You're definitely still interested, still invested. Like, don't let Brawl be the ex-girlfriend or like the girlfriend that you keep breaking up with. Just there's nothing wrong with like embracing this game. It's a good game. It has interest in it, and if you play, and if you are part of this community, even from the Melee side, the 64 side, the Project M side, you should just embrace all of these games as something that has potential to benefit your game, your friends, you personally, or like who even cares about benefits? It's just everyone in the Smash community is invested in each other's futures, and I think to destroy that over like just a game simply is ridiculous, especially a game that everyone kind of on the low does have a respect for. And now it's not even the Melee players talking poorly about Brawl. It's like the Brawl players are decrying their own game dead, and that's definitely the wrong path to take. There's definitely some more optimism needed. There's definitely some more realism needed, to be honest, because the game's numbers are still there, with Apex breaking 300 entrants and still having great stream viewership. I mean, I really don't see how you can call this game dead. It's just like, if you're not putting work into it and producing things that you can, you can't say that the game is dead if you're not using your own talents to keep it alive.
For sure. I think the best way to sum up the first part of our discussion is just need more people to be ambassadors for the game, more people to promote it, more people to represent it, to stand up and really make themselves heard, and to show that not only they care, but they care about the game's future, because we're not doing this just because we want Brawl to be successful right now. We want to do it because we want to see it continue to grow, continue to evolve into an amazing game. Yeah. And just to close that up, also, when we look at the Evo Spirit Bomb and how Melee rallied for their donation drive. SSBM, they weren't successful just because of their community. Brawl contributed to that. Smash 64 contributed to that. Project M contributed to that. The FGC, esports, even gaming enthusiasts contributed to it. And that's because they got the word out. They spread the word. They had people aware of the cause. They wanted people to get involved with it. And I think that's a big thing that the Brawl community's been missing in the past. It's not just reaching out to the roots of the scene. It's also networking to other communities as well. Because Prog asked me a pretty eye-opening question. He asked me, who are the two smashers with the most followers on Twitter? And the answer to that, I think none of us would have guessed, is Sky and Cosmo. Now, those guys have massive followings, and we haven't really reached out to them for free SSBB. And we kind of need to network better, get more people involved, more people caring about this stuff. But
yeah, I've actually reached out to Sky myself, and he said he's on board with it. He's gonna, right now he's busy in Germany. Shout out to Sky. That's Hollywood esports, like to the maximum right now, filming in Germany. But yeah, we actually were gonna invite him to this call, but he couldn't make it. He's definitely down with the motion, and I have reached out to him. But yes, I agree. Definitely cross game. Outreach is a priority. Cosmo has huge speedrun following. Sky, huge League of Legends following. And yeah, just finish what you're saying, Joe. My bad.
Yeah, no worries. Just essentially what it is not only do we need to strengthen our ties within the scene, but we also need to reach out. So make ourselves more visible on social media, more visible on YouTube. Create content that gets people invested in the scene. It's not just about the gameplay. If there's one thing that'll set your community up for failure, is if you only care about the gameplay. If the only content you can find is players playing at a high level, you're not going to soak in those fans that are just recreational players, because people want to know the stories behind players. They want to know the struggle, the narrative behind how they got to where they are and what contributed to it. And speaking personally, I can say that Nairo has one of the best stories out of any Smasher when it comes to overcoming the odds and just using pure heart, talent, and effort to succeed. So big shout outs to that kid. We're very proud of you, by the way, homie. But moving on to a more, I would say, tangible note, is there's no denying the fact that as a spectator sport, Brawl has not been as captivating as games like Melee, Marvel, Street Fighter, games that are on the rise, games that are fighting games but are slowly becoming on the level of esports, so to speak, quote-unquote esports. Now, we've been talking a lot about what can make Brawl more spectator-friendly, what could get people more engaged in the game to make it more fast-paced, because there's no denying the fact that Brawl rewards defensive playstyles. We see players like Nairo, like myself, Shogun, that have aggressive playstyles and they manage to succeed with them, but as a whole, Brawl is a very defense-oriented game. So what I wanted to suggest to you guys, I wanted to pose a question. What rule set changes could we make to make the game more offensive and make it more spectator-friendly?
Well, first, before we get into an actual rule set change, I would definitely like to speculate that, or to point out that Brawl has become a lot more aggressive. Like the games are no longer 8-minute, painful-to-watch sets. Players are actually engaging each other, and there are some examples. Of course, there's Mewtwo King versus Ice Climbers, who he will stop at nothing to play to win.
Yep.
But, there are definitely a lot of players out there, tons and tons now, who just will actually play an honest fight. We do see problems with the Melee Ice Climber matchup, of course. But, the game has naturally developed as people got more familiar with attacking safely. Just honestly, as they learned the game better. People now know how to attack and brawl without getting punished every time. And you see that. You see Nairo, aggressive Mewtwo King, Zero, yourself, Shadow. I think I play pretty damn aggressively myself.
Yeah, dude, you need to go to more tournaments, by the way. You're one of my favorite people to play against, but I never get to enter events with you.
Yeah, dude, I know. I never enter, but I'm still all right at this game, believe it or not.
I'm gonna push you to enter when I'm in New York City with you. You better believe that. But
yeah,
anyway,
right.
continue.
Anyway, the real point here is that there is also a rule set cure to this situation, and it's one that I've talked about for many months and years, and that is one stock best of 5 singles matches. I think we're both on board here with this, Joe.
Yep.
One stock, 3 minutes, and sets are best of 5 instead of best of 3. I think there's honestly no better way to play Brawl than this.
That
People
would
have to
make the
remember,
game straight crack, dude. That would make Brawl an energy drink, man. It would be unreal.
dude, one thing that people have to realize is that 3 stock 8 minutes was not a default rule set handed down by the gods on, like, you know, an angelic cloud pillow. You know, they're just like, it was not the prescribed way to play this game. Like, honestly, it comes default on, like, 2-minute timer with all items on. So I really disagree with how people initially responded to one stock back in, like, 2011 when I initially started proposing it and promoting for it. But you know, people eventually came around. They started playing it with their friends. I started playing it with everyone that I played with, and most people ended up really liking it a lot. It's really fun. It's like you mash the start button. You're like, no, rematch, because the games could be like 45 seconds, and
Right.
they're hype. It's like exciting to watch. It's exciting to play. It's extremely tense. You know, one thing that people say about Brawl is that it's tense rather than hype. And you know,
Right.
Melee is hype because it's constant combos and just craziness, and you know, it's awesome. Melee is so awesome to watch. You know, Brawl, on the other hand, is more of like a war of attrition kind of chess-like game where
Yeah.
each move is very, very calculated. You don't really get mixed up in you know, the craziness in the fray. It's a lot tamer in the neutral game, but it's a lot more intense in the neutral game because, you know, there's a lot of reaction, there's a lot of rock, paper, scissors, you know, traditional Yomi. What are you going to do, and what do you think your opponent's going to do? So one of the best ways to cut down on, you know, Brawl's big flaw of having kind of slow games because it lacks the combos that Melee has that speed the game up and the movement and everything is just to reduce the game to one stock. And it all of a sudden turns into this super intense, amazing, like frantic almost game where like everything is so calculated, but it's high speed. One hit really means a lot, and it kind of like, I'm not going to say it mitigates the tier list or negates it or anything, but it kind of makes things easier for the worst characters because a
For
big
sure.
flaw of bad characters in Brawl is that they can't land kill moves. And now imagine Donkey Kong having to land a crazy 65% kill move on Meta Knight one time instead of 3 times. Like, even if he tricks Meta Knight one stock, you know, out of a 3-stock game, he can still just get bodied for his 3 stocks because it's DK versus Meta Knight. But
Exactly.
in one stock, you're forced to adapt extremely quickly. You have to know the matchup. You have to be on point. There's no slouches. That's another awesome part.
Okay, but what about all right? So you know, one stock introduces certain arbitrary buffs, like Squirtle gets a buff there because he doesn't
Yeah,
have
the
to
only
affect it by
the only
fatigue.
true buffs,
Zero Suit
are
Samus.
Squirtle and Zero Suit Samus.
But
And
what about Ice Climbers? Because they only have to get one grab.
yes, but you only have to kill Nana once also. You know,
Okay.
Meta Knight only has to get one Gimp on you, but you only have to kill him at low percent with his lightweight once. Pretty much everyone stays neutral on, like, in terms of objective tier positions, except Squirtle and Zero Suit. They're the only two that automatically they get better inarguably.
Yo,
And
don't forget about my boy Bowser though.
Oh yeah. The suicide characters, of course, you know, they get guaranteed wins in the one stock rule set.
Yeah, and then Lucario gets sort of. What about Lucario? Because of his.
I think he
aura.
stays the same. It's as if you just had played the first stock. But some people think he gets better because then you never have to suffer for winning. But you know, even if the tier list changes, that's not a big deal. I really don't see why that is a big deal. Because if
Me
we
neither.
had played Brawl on 4 stock from the beginning, imagine how weak Zero Suit Samus would be because she only gets her items for 1/4 of the match instead of 1/3. Or imagine like Pokemon Trainer could be better because you can play Squirtle twice if you start with him. Something like that, you know? The tier list will change depending on the rule set. The tier list is different with items on and off. I mean, I feel like that's an arbitrary point to make when saying that one stock is a bad thing. I think people really need to just open their minds, like realize that this may change the metagame, and if it does, is that even a bad thing? Like,
Not at
if
all.
the game, if 3 stock 8 minute has proven to be something boring that everyone wants to complain about, then what's the harm in trying one stock 3 minutes, best of 5 sets?
I mean,
It's-
the most appealing thing for me with this rule set is we're gonna see characters come through with new tech. People are gonna be motivated to find stuff with characters that hasn't been discovered before because
Exactly,
it's gonna
because
be in
now
the
you
setting
have
of
the
one
one
stock. if you have your bag of tricks that you can pull out at any time in these events, you're going to see players with character variety. It's going to promote counterpicking. It's going to make the game so much more entertaining because instead of playing Ice Climbers where it's down air camping as Meta Knight for 8 minutes, it's okay. You can down air camp for this one stock, but once you make that one crucial mistake, your stock's gone. It revitalizes Ice Climbers. Ice Climbers, I would say, is probably one of the reasons why Brawl is declining in viewership. They just they disrupt the flow of the game so much. I don't think they're broken by any means, but I do think that they greatly disrupt how the game is played and the consistency in the matches. Because in a game like Brawl, where a lot of moves aren't safe on hit, and especially on block, it makes the Ice Climber matchup just a nightmare for so many characters. But if you have that variable where it's only one stock, that gives you so much leeway against the character. Because
Yeah,
if they mess up once and you take out Nana, that is the game in your hands. It's no longer okay. Take out Sopo and then go back to whatever chain grab equals death. It's
Hey.
okay. Who I think in one stock best of 5, the player who plays more efficiently, more clean, and takes more calculated risks will always win. I don't think there's a random factor. And when there is a random factor, that's what will make it interesting because the same players are always in the top 5 at Brawl events. Now that's also a testament to how dedicated the top are, but at the same time, we need more variety, and that's just my opinion.
I don't think that one stock would add any random elements, personally.
need-
Also because tripping will be off at every goddamn tournament I host and for the rest of my life ever on every single setup. There will never, ever, ever, ever be tripping at a tournament that I host. You heard. Word is bond. Now, furthermore, the Ice Climbers, see, the matchup changes a lot for them. This actually, I just realized this right now, like the true extent to which this actually changes. You know, there are only 3 minutes on the clock. The Ice Climbers are pressured now to grab you within that 3 minutes. So they're going to be coming at you more, which is so good because normally they're spent, they have 8 minutes to just, they can kill you within 6 seconds. So what do they care about 8 minutes? 3 minutes, that's a little different. If like every character can actually get away from them for that long. And that means, one, they're going to have to approach. 2, if they lose by percent, like, if they don't get a grab within getting a few percent, or I'm sorry, within having the percent built up on them by their opponent, then they're screwed. They'll lose by virtue of the timer. And it's not a bad thing in one stock for games to go to time because it's only 3 minutes. If 5 games out of the best of 5 go to time, it's only 15 minutes. That's still shorter than 2 best of 3 games going to time. It's like not nearly as bad to watch a 180-second match go to time. Like in Marvel and Street Fighter, there are 99-second matches that go to time all the time, and the 99 seconds is also exaggerated. It actually ticks slower than 1 second per game counter. So, one stock has a lot of potential, man. If people are complaining about the Ice Climbers, that's something that becomes more tolerable. Maybe they don't get better or worse, It doesn't really matter. I don't think most of these characters receive objective buffs. It's just all psychological. It's all metagame stuff. It's like, oh, this character only has to get 1 kill. Maybe they're actually a lot better than I thought. And Koku, shout-outs to him, by the way, from Vegas, did a study showing that 75% of 3-stock Brawl matches go to the person who claimed the first stock. And, that's basically you're sitting through 2 more stocks of boring defensive play that people are gonna go whine about on YouTube because the players, they don't want to approach each other. But there are also players who will, give you a dignified game, and they'll just win. But either way, it's clear that Brawl favors the character with the stock advantage. There are not as many true combos and kill moves in the game, so for low-tier characters to get kills is pretty tough. Especially, think about Luigi having to outbox Meta Knight to land a forward smash or up B or, a down smash at 120, 130. 3 times per game versus 3 times for a whole set. You have to play better. You have to be on point with your character. You can't be sloppy. It goes for low tiers and high tiers. It adds a lot of intensity to the game. If you sit down and practice for a couple hours on one stock, I guarantee you'll play better in general because, the first few matches, you'll be like, whoa, it's over already? Man, I got to step it up. And then each game becomes gradually better, and you play better and better. It's brilliant to, see how people adapt when they're playing on one stock because you're just always on tilt. People say about some players, especially T-Spammer from back in the day, that he played like a god when he was on his last stock. He played better on his last stock
Man,
And this
shout out,
phenomenon,
man. Holy.
yeah, shout outs to Spam. That guy's the throwback of throwbacks. But
Yeah. Wow.
anyway, if you like want that for all of your stocks, just play one stock for a few hours. I guarantee you, if you're playing with a good opponent, just being on that constant notice, knowing like, man, if I mess up one time, my stock and this game are over. So like, you don't get a lot of chances. It's a higher paced game, or faster paced game. I think viewership can definitely improve as a result of this, because sets will be over in like, 5 or 6 minutes instead of like 20. Games that go to game 3 with time in between matches and stuff, they don't even have to be particularly long to go to like 20 minutes apiece. I think a 5 or 6 minute set is a much more digestible format. It could be 10 minutes, but maximum 15. Like the absolute maximum for a one stock set is 15 minutes plus time between games. So I don't see any way in which this could hurt the metagame. It's at least something worth trying. I think people will actually get better at the game from playing it because of like how on edge you have to be the whole time. So they might find 3-stock Brawl to be more like mentally stimulating after that too, if you go play with someone one stock for a few hours. But anyway, it's at least worth a shot. I think that we definitely need to host a major tournament with it, and
Hey,
do so unapologetically. And Joe, I think you have some words about that.
So, as you guys know, now that Brawl has been dropped from the MLG circuit, that means that there's no unified rule set that Brawl needs to be ran at. So now that I'm hosting the Canadian qualifier for Brawl, I have the liberty to change the rule set to whatever I want. I'm going to do a poll, see how people feel about this rule set change, but I really feel like this could shake things up. I mean, Get On My Level is going to be a first of its kind for Canada, but also for Smash. VG Bootcamp coming to stream, going to have both high-level Brawl players and Melee players at a major tournament that isn't Apex, which is pretty cool. And I think the potential that One Stock brings to the viewership and also just the competitiveness of Brawl would just be so much more increased. The favorite comparison that I have is if we were to put Smash in the FGC sphere, Melee would be like Marvel, and Brawl would be like Street Fighter. Now, Marvel is insane pressure, setups, and just rush down, and high level efficiency, execution. Whereas Street Fighter, it's more calculated spacing, footsies, setups, and also a little bit of aggressive play as well. But it's not dominated by aggressive play. It's a lot of smart reads and strong neutral play. Now, when you put Street Fighter in the Brawl universe, I don't think Street Fighter would be that fun to watch if life bars were 4 times as big and rounds were 8 times as long. Street Fighter is interesting because it's always down to the wire. It's always that one hit that can decide who wins and loses. Now, if we put Brawl into that sort of universe with One Stock, I think it has the potential to have that same like nail-biting experience where even if the game is super defensive, you can appreciate the strong neutral play that's taking place because you realize how calculated the pressure is and how smart the spacing is. And that's really, I think, what's Brawl's biggest strength. A lot of people don't realize just how good your neutral play has to be in order to succeed at high levels in Brawl. Because there's not that many combos and there's low hit stun, you constantly get reset back to neutral if you're not properly punishing their air dodges or sloppy approaches. So you really need to have your spacing down. And I think a rule set where there's less stocks, less time, it really promotes someone that has better neutral play and overall cleaner gameplay. And not to mention, it just makes it more to watch. Like I've tested it a bit with my friends, and there's been nothing but positive responses from it. I mean, outside of the obvious Ice Climbers, Zero Suit, Suicide characters, yeah, there's the cheap stuff, but the cheap stuff will never go away in fighting games. You're never going to have a utopian fighting game. And I think that this is something that at the very least we should try. If it ends up not panning out as we expected, fine. We'll cut our losses and move on. But I think the important thing here is trying something new, trying something fresh, not feeling complacent with what we've done in the past, and not feeling as though we have anything to live up to in terms of the precedent that was set in the past. I mean, tournament organizers, you have the liberty to make the rules however you want. We have a unified rule set sort of at the moment, but that doesn't mean that it's the tournament standard. It's really about how you feel the game should be played, and I think if we take more liberties with the rule set and we start experimenting more, that Smash could become a much more diverse fighter. Not just Brawl. I'm talking about all the games.
I want to address someone in the chat right now. For those of you who are watching the YouTube archive, there's someone in the chat, Runic, who's doesn't really like this idea of one stock matches because of Ice Climbers, and I've just been reading the chat this entire time, and I just want to say first off that what part of the reason why we're here is because clearly how Brawl is being played right now isn't what we like, isn't up to the standards that we want as Smashers, and isn't obviously being as successful as we want it to. And as you said, making these changes doesn't hurt. Ice Climbers are going to be effective no matter what the rules are of the game. The Ice Climbers will always be able to infinite, it doesn't matter. So in my opinion, the fact that we may want to avoid rule changes because of Ice Climbers is probably the dumbest thing I've ever heard, because the Ice Climbers are going to be effective regardless of what you do. Ice Climbers are going to grab you 3 times. If there's 3 stocks, they'll grab you 4 times. If there's 4, they'll grab you 1 if there's 1. And if anything, I would personally love it if it only took me 1 split to get a win, or a game win, rather than having to fight in multiple stocks. So it's stupid to sit here and be like, oh, we can really see the problems here with Ice Climbers, but we shouldn't do anything about it. We should just leave Brawl this how it is, because clearly it's good. But no, screw the Ice Climbers. The Ice Climbers are going to be good either way. Let's change the rules so we can at least buff some other characters here, or make it a more spectator, kind of friendly game, rather than just like succumbing to Ice Climbers. Because we're clearly not going to ban them. The problem here is that I see people who are like literally sitting here like arguing about points that we've been arguing since 2008, but I don't see you adding anything to it. Like, oh yeah, Ice Climbers are gonna oh wow, this is a comment that I'm gonna comment on next. But the Ice Climbers are gonna be good no matter what. If we give other characters the opportunity to also be good, that'll help spectator wise. And then I just see the comment, I think the dumbest thing I've ever heard is changing the rules for spectators, aka people who don't play the game. Okay, well, I'm going to go back to 2009, 2010, where esports people were trying to figure out how do we grow esports in North America. And that is by catering to the fans, because the fans are those who watch the games. The fans are those who bring the money in. The fans are those who care about the game outside of just playing it, but actually care about it from a casual and outside perspective. So spectators are way more important than you could ever possibly fathom, and the fact that you're sitting here arguing not only about not letting Ice Climbers in one stock or whatever, but then saying spectators aren't important, I'm sorry. Spectators will always be important, and we have to cater to them, because without spectators the game will not continue to grow. Melee would not be where it is without the spectators that it has.
Very true.
So and the whole reason why we want to change is so that the game is more fun to not only play but to watch, and those things go hand in hand. So if you're gonna seriously sit here and tell me that spectators aren't important, you really need to learn up about the history of esports and the history of Smash Bros. And I personally think the more we can cater to the spectator, the better. That's what we should be doing. Clearly, the players are gonna, they're gonna play Smash, but the players aren't really, changing things here. The Brawl doesn't have as many spectators as all the other Smashes, and it doesn't have as many spectators as other fighting games. That's clearly because of a number of things we're trying to address right now.
Yeah, I think one stock, again, is just definitely worth trying. People complain about Ice Climbers, how Ice Climbers will be, whatever. Like, honestly, you have no idea until you try, for one. And there's no reason to suspect that the Ice Climbers will be any better, any worse, or that any character will be any better or worse.
This is all speculation. Like, he's just saying, Ice Climbers are going to be better. We don't know that.
Yeah, and I'd say the only things that we can guarantee are that Zero Suit will be objectively better because she gets the items from one stock. However, you could just use them against her, so maybe it neutralizes. And Squirtle is definitely he's clearly better than Charizard and Ivysaur. So to have him alone, and in a format where the stamina probably won't come into play because the games don't last that long, that's really good for him. It's like an auto fix to a code that people wanted to implement earlier, no stamina / no force switching. Should we put this in the tournament rule set? No. But one stock fixes that for you, and no tripping, which I mean, we just need, honestly, we need no tripping to be universal at this point. There's no excuse. One SD card can fix a whole venue. Anyway, yeah, one stock, guys, consider it, give it a shot, play it with your friends, sit down and give it an honest chance because it is really, really fun. It is like you'll at least have your mind opened on some of your worst habits as a Smash player, possibly. And there is definitely a lot of hope for maybe not the tier list to change, but the tier list to be less of a factor in matches. Luigi clearly is nothing compared to Meta Knight or Falco, but he only has to get them with one of his crazy tricks one time per game to win the set. Or Bowser. I see Vex in the chat. Shout out to Vex. Vex was saying, Bowser can just do grab release to side B, and if Bowser gets a free win in one hit because of that, like, good for Bowser, because honestly, he's probably not top tier anyway, and if he is, then good for Bowser. Like, finally, we see another character who's going to start winning everything. Honestly, guys, the rules being changed, even stage lists being changed, which we've seemed to have no problem changing over the years, even stage list changes, any sort of rule set changes will affect the tier list. So I don't see why there's some sort of problem with this over changing the stock and timer of the game. Really don't think it's some sort of exception that we should immediately overlook. And again, 3 stock 8 minutes was not handed down by the gods. So it's worth trying other stuff.
A lot of people are still asking questions about how ice climbers are going to fare in this. And I think it's a valid point because ice climbers are sort of what spawned a lot of this talk. Nakat has expressed interest in joining the Skype call. Dakota, do you think you can make that happen,
Yeah,
my
I was
man?
actually just about to bring that up. Let's add Nakat in here. I want to see what Nakat has to say about this. So when Nakat joins the call, I want to get his opinion. For those of you who don't know, Nakat is Clash Tournament's Leap of Faith. Nakat, one of the top Brawl players right now, part of one of the top Brawl doubles team right now, and a power ranked player in New York, New Jersey. If he's here, I believe he is. Nakat, what's up, man?
What's up? Ow.
Alright. So looks like we got Nakat here. How's it going, dude?
Yo, what's good, man?
Not much. Well, actually, there's a lot good because we got you on here, and we wanna. What's your opinion on the one stock situation? What do you think about ice climbers in a one stock situation? Are you for this rule set change or not?
I feel like ice climbers in a one stock situation is pretty neutral because you have one stock to gimp Nana, and then you'll end up just fighting Sopo, or you get grabbed and you die at one stock. I feel like it can go either way.
Okay.
Yep, and let's also not forget what I said about Ankoku's research that shows that 75% of games are decided by who takes the first stock. So from that point, you might as well have only played a one stock match for one. But two, exactly as Nakat said, any character's strengths and weaknesses are amplified by the one stock rule set. And what do you have to worry about when you're playing against playing against the ice climbers in 3 stock? You have to worry about either gimping Nana or getting chain grabbed and losing. Yep. And that does not change in one stock.
To be honest, ice climbers are stronger in a 3 stock format because of one, how demoralizing they are. Like, picture yourself in a situation where you got grabbed twice. You're at 1 stock to my 3 stocks. Think of how hard you're going to have to work to come back from that.
Right, exactly. And now, Vex actually says that he thinks the ice climbers absolutely get worse in one stock because you're not in neutral versus a character with a death grab for 8 whole minutes. So you only need 1 or 2 reads to kill these guys, and you could still run the timer on them pretty easily, even as any character. Honestly, like Luigi is a good benchmark because I think he's like low mid tier. Again, Luigi could probably run away from the ice climbers for 3 minutes, maintain a % lead, and win the game. So as long as you're avoiding that death grab for 3 minutes per game, they could be taken down. Now, whether they get better or worse still remains to be seen. Again, because we have not seen one stock tournament results yet. It could be that in practice, rather than in theory, people are being way sloppy and falling into ice climbers chain grabs way too easily. However, that just means that the metagame will advance. People will get better at avoiding it with all characters, not just with Meta Knight taking to the edge and planking. Also, in one stock, we would definitely very, very carefully implement a ledge grab limit. Probably something like 10, to be honest, maybe 12. We would definitely take all necessary steps to have a fully fleshed out, solid one stock 3-minute rule set, best of 5 sets that was fair, a stage list that was fair for best of 5s. Personally, I'm in favor of because we're actually supposed to be talking about all kinds of changed rule sets, not just one stock.
Okay.
Something else we can move into. I think I'm very much a fan of like a 3-stage list actually, and I have I have a kind of unique idea within that also. You and your opponent play rock, paper, scissors. Winner decides who strikes first or second. And then you strike one of the 3 stages each, and you play the entire set on that stage. Now, this rule set I think could be applicable to both 1 stock and 3 stock. I see no problem, like, you can't get counterpicked to some stupid crap. Winner would have to stay character, by the way. You can't, winner cannot change character. That's very, very important. Very important. But yeah, if you say on one stage for the whole set.
Someone is echoing.
Yeah, I'm echoing hard.
No,
Yeah,
I don't know why.
someone has their mic on. You gotta mute it if you're not talking.
What happened?
You have your mic on, and you don't have headphones. In. Do you?
Hold on.
No, you don't.
No, the cat just click the top.
Body bags. No, I mean, by the way, Runic, I don't want to air you out. It's not personal. I don't care who's saying that. It's a dumb opinion. I don't think it's not founded in anything. It's not founded in fact. It's not founded in anything. It's just speculation that ice climbers would be better. And if anything, I'm seeing other people tell me that ice climbers are not going to be better. So I don't understand why. The speculation would automatically make the ice climbers amazing in 1 stock, and that we shouldn't do it. So that's why.
Now keep in mind also that the aim of 1 stock is not to change the tier list. It's not to elevate Zero Suit and Squirtle. It's not to nerf the ice climbers, because, like I said, we still may see the ice climbers be just as good, if not better, in practice rather than in theory. However, they could get worse too. But there's just no reason to immediately disregard this idea. There's no reason to jump to conclusions before you've even tested it. And yeah, I mean, if we have some experts on the character saying that there's a chance that they'll get worse, or almost they definitely get worse in Vex's case, this is not an aim to bring a character down or anything. It's just possibly a byproduct of a rule set change that maybe, and I think will be, completely positive for the community. Honestly, DM Brandon and I have been talking about changing the rule set to 1 stock as a default for literally 3 years. People looked at us like we had 3 heads at first, and then we looked at them like they had 3 stocks. So, I think it's definitely a due change, and at least a due change to try. Maybe have 10 tournaments nationwide for a week, running 1 stock instead of 3, or just a couple throughout the year, and gauge attendance. Because the only way you'll know is if you'll try. Gauge attendance, gauge viewership, just pay attention,
I want to. Hold on.
I just want to add one last thing. I just want to add one last thing, and then you guys can either switch discussions or give your final.
I want to talk about stage before we move on, so go on.
For sure. I think in this rule set, Zero Suit Samus has the potential to be top tier. And the reason why I find this interesting is, I don't know about you guys, but I think Zero Suit Samus is hands down the most entertaining character to watch in Brawl.
Definitely one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think her and Meta Knight, when played aggressively and smart, are the 2 most entertaining characters. And then when you add into the fact characters like Squirtle, Bowser, DK, the heavy hitters that usually struggle when it comes to grinding out their 2nd and 3rd stocks. Right. It would just make it so much more diverse and so much more exciting. And the last point I just wanted to make is it would make it so cool to see new players coming back and old players coming with new technology. Because I'm telling you right now, if this becomes the standard, I would definitely be main Squirtle. I would get the Squirtle squad in there 100%. And that,
I would definitely add him to my roster
I would
of
use
mains.
Squirtle as well, yeah.
Yeah, we would all join the Squirtle squad. It would be ridiculous. Everyone wants to see character diversities. They want to see some new characters up there. Yeah. And in the current metagame, the low tiers and even the bottom half of the mid tiers, they're just not viable. It's the unfortunate truth. Under the current rules, it's just you literally just need to outplay your opponent by 8 to 10 times more than what they're doing. So I think it gives a chance to the underdog as well. And who doesn't like to see an underdog win?
Yes, and also I'd just like to point out that there are no plans to change doubles from 3 stock. Doubles
is fine. Brawl doubles is great.
Brawl doubles is great.
Doubles is fire, dude. Doubles is definitely
Brawl doubles is great.
I love
let's
Brawl
definitely.
But yo, let me throw something at you right now, Doom, because you said 3 stocks, and I'm gonna throw you a curveball and say that 3 stocks is booty squad, and we should be adding way more stages if we're gonna be doing 1 stock. We should be bringing back frigate. I want to see rainbow. I want to see lilac there. I want to see castle siege. I want to see delfino. I want to see halberd. I want to see all these. Like, why not?
Hey,
Why not bring
I
the
don't know.
stages back? Why I don't? If we're gonna play
We
brawl,
could try that. We could try it.
I say why not try it?
Like, that's something that I think we need. We definitely need to get the experts on this topic. Like, I think Deluxe, ESAM, Pierce. You know, just the minds of the game, the Smash Lab, the Smash Back Room, and we need to come to a universal rule set. I think, you know, the end goal of all this experimentation is to finally decide on what the rule set for Smash is going to be. Right now, you know, this is just a very early stage of 3 stock versus 1 stock talks. Now, what's going to happen within those stock counts? You know, what's going to happen with the stage lists?
Yo,
I
Big
personally
Blue.
think that any talk of banning characters should just immediately be dropped. We should not discuss banning Ice Climbers or Meta Knight in Brawl. I think it's an unprecedented choice to ban a character. It's never been done in Smash, and it's a dangerous precedent to set. So let's drop that for now. Let's worry first about changing the core of the game rather than picking and choosing which characters we should have allowed. I think that's useless, especially with the amount of players that pick the top tier characters. I mean, how can you blame people for gravitating toward the better characters? Like, 1, they're more fun because you have more options. 2, they're better. You're going to win more. Like, it's just the simply logical path. Now, I don't really think I have too much to say on this topic anymore about rule set changes. I just think, you know, people should keep their minds open about 1 stock as an alternative.
Well,
you know, people say
I
2 stock, but I think that it certainly does not change the way people play enough. People just play 2 stock matches as if they're 3 stock matches. So, you know, there's no harm in trying the more radical option in a time like this where, you know, Brawl tournament attendance is wavering. Not dying, but wavering. And, you know, maybe something exciting and new. And seeing, you know, Will's Donkey Kong style on a Meta Knight for a stock before he can even adapt and learn what hit him. And just, you know, ending up placing way better, or Vex coming in with DDD, grabbing him 1 time and ending his reign immediately. Who knows, dude? So much could change from 1 stock, and it could be a really, really exciting outcome. I don't think there's any reason to sleep on this format particularly. And I think we definitely should request the help of great minds. ESAM, Deluxe, Pierce. I honestly don't even know what other names to call upon in stage discussions. I was never a big fan of them. I've always been a fan of really, really small stage lists. I think Battlefield, Final Destination, and Smashville give us everything we need to brawl.
Nah. Wait, why? Why is it that if the game is so stagnant and it's defensively minded, why would we not put stages in the stage list that maybe promote not offensive play but different kinds of play? If we're going to 1 stock, I don't see why we can't even bring like Norfair back.
I don't know, man. I think I think you shouldn't have to fight a stage more than a player. And the 3 extremely neutral stages, if each player just strikes one of them and then you play the whole set on the other stage, like, honestly, it's a fair player versus player match. You know what you signed up for when you struck and what you didn't strike. But
people know what they're signing up for any rule set. That's not an argument. Like, if you wrote a tournament saying, hey, we're gonna do random stages, and they sign up for it, then they know what they're getting. You know, I mean,
I don't know. Again, I think
this isn't a
something
slippery
better
slope
left
thing.
in the hands of...
Slippery slope is like it's a fallacy for a reason. But I'm just saying, like, why don't we give these older stages a chance? If we're gonna try and promote different gameplay and we don't know what's gonna happen, why not give it a shot? Sticking to 3 stages clearly hasn't helped Brawl.
Well, we've never done that. It's actually only been in Japan. It's only been in Japan that the 3
even our
stages
current
have
stage
happened.
List. Even our current
I don't know.
stage
I think,
list.
like I said, I think this is better left in the hands of the people who are more educated on it, and we'll do this on a different podcast as far as specifics for stage lists. But you know, I think people do need to be like, look at like the amount of disagreement between me and Dakota right there. Like, there are clearly a lot of sides to this argument. And there are clearly varying levels of knowledge on it. I think, you know, we'll definitely organize some talk for this for next episode. I have Lux messaging me on Skype to let him in, but we're definitely going to do that next episode. Sorry, dude. And yeah,
well, what do we
I
have
don't know.
to move on to? We have one more topic.
Yeah,
right?
let's move on. We have actually 2 more topics, and
we do.
First is Well, yeah. I don't know. Did you include the answering Reddit people on
Oh,
as
no,
one
I
of the
didn't.
topics?
I didn't count that. As a
Okay.
topic.
So let's do that real quick. While we wait for our special guest, who I believe will be able to join us.
Oh, is the special guest good to go?
The special guest is going to be good to go within a couple minutes. So first, I think
Oh,
we should.
hype.
Yeah. Let's go through this.
Challenger approaching.
Yeah, challenger approaching indeed.
Yo, by the way,
Now-
make sure you guys follow EE at the phenomenal EE on Twitter. Keep going.
Yeah, so follow EE on Twitter, guys. Okay, so the next topic that I want to cover is to just address some of the comments that we got on Reddit. Now, we did not really get a lot of traffic for this. I tried to spread the link, but you know, sometimes the Smash Bros. Reddit is pretty mainly oriented. You know, it didn't get too many comments. However, we also got some responses on Twitter. So first, I'd like to address Mike Hayes, who asked a question that is, how can TOs in my region or in any region stay motivated? And I think this is a pretty general question, and I think it has a lot of answers to it.
Yep.
And first, I would like to say, number one is to don't stop if you don't see improvement immediately, because too many people are expecting some sort of immediate change, immediate blow up that's going to make things go completely differently. And you can't have your hopes that high. You have to have reasonable expectations. If you host a tournament, I mean, I'm guilty of this myself. I hosted a tournament and I was pretty frustrated because it got low attendance, but I could have advertised more. I should have been more persistent and also more patient. How was the first tournament of a series? How can you expect that to be amazing? So I think, as a TO myself, I can say don't set your expectations too high. Don't get discouraged once you don't get the expected outcome that you were looking for. Keep pushing, keep advertising. Advertise in unconventional venues. Put something in a store window. Talk to your local GameStop about putting flyers for your tournaments somewhere. Post on FGC forums, post on casual forums, game news sites. Dakota has that Nintendo Enthusiast Connect. Shoutouts to Nintendo Enthusiasts. Go post on their forums with your tournaments. I know that I have a tournament series, currently ongoing. We're having a little bit of a struggle, with our venue arrangements, but they're actually, things are looking very up right now, and I intend to, as soon as everything is set in stone, because I don't want to put myself out there and then have to change the date or the venue. But as soon as everything is finalized, I'm going ham sandwich, guys, like on every site that you could imagine, anywhere that would not mod me and delete my posts
I don't
for
think there's sound.
No?
No.
There's no sound.
No, it looks like...
That's what they're saying in the chat. I don't know. They might be trolling, but I just guys a heads up on that. It said that you guys dropped a little bit on the connection, but let's keep.
Wow,
like
we went from 90 to 7 viewers. What happened?
I'm not sure. I'm
Okay,
sure what
they
happened.
can hear us. Okay, people can hear us.
Okay.
We're Gucci. All right.
Or Gucci.
So yeah, guys, I'm going hard on every site that won't mod my post and give me an infraction for having posted a Smash tournament link there. Like, you guys should do the same. I mean, people need to be just more innovative with where they're reaching out, because there's a huge audience for this game. Brawl sold more copies than Melee did. Like, that's a lot of copies, man. It's something like 8
Brawl
million
is the
or 7
best-selling
million.
fighting game ever, I think.
Yeah, Brawl was the best-selling fighting game of all time, which is that's nothing to sneeze at. And considering that people are down-talking the size of its competitive community, like, that is honestly just a sign of not enough outreach being done. Because even if the game was bad, if it's the best-selling fighting game of all time, like, come on, guys. But again, Nintendo, like, giving us no developer support, that's a big problem. It's not easy for players to realize, hey, there is a competitive community for this. It's only people who have the incentive or the initiative and are interested in something like this who would want to go online and do further research. And that's the only way that you can find out about the competitive scene now. And again, if there are no players putting out top-notch content, exposing the scene to people who are looking for it, or even people who aren't looking for it, then it's never going to grow. And this goes for all gaming communities.
I agree, 100%.
And guys, I think it's really important too. If you guys believe in anything we're talking about on the show, go do it. Like, you don't gotta tell us about it. Just go and do it. If you have ideas for one stock, or you have ideas for a new stages or anything like that, go on Reddit and talk about it. Go on the State of Brawl podcast group if you guys aren't a part of it already, and post about it. I mean, we can only do so much sitting here and telling you guys what to do. Brawl is in your hands, so it's every weekend that goes by is another, opportunity for you guys to do something cool with Brawl. And,
Yeah.
Brawl, it's situation right now, considering Smash 4 is coming up and, when Nintendo's shutting down Wi-Fi for the Wii and DS, not that having no Wi-Fi has ever really been a big deal, but, the point is that we're in a situation now where people are going to be looking for new stuff, whether that be Smash 4 or whatever it is. But if we give people outlets to come and join the community, that's what's more important. And I think to get involved with promoting the game, um, focus it towards the casuals, focus it towards people who aren't or who are new to it. It's so easy to get people into the game. Just show them a stream, show them a video, show them an interview, show them something, and they are out there. There aren't a lot, but they all are. They're all out there. Or Smash boards. There's so many ways to do it. It's not just hashtag free SSB.
Yeah,
and remember that
definitely.
the casual crowd for Brawl is so huge. Like just get people into it casually. Like hey, play some Brawl with me. Brawl is a great casual game. That's what it was really made for. As much as we like to say oh Brawl is this, Brawl is that. Brawl was made for a casual demographic. We have to sort of admit that and accept that. So if anything, use it to cater towards the casual players. Like, hey, Brawl's really good. Brawl can, teach you the fundamentals of Smash at sort of a slower pace, so it's not as, high, ridiculous running around and SDing all the time for new players in Melee.
Yeah, and if people are gonna say that casuals and spectators aren't important, I'm sorry. Just look at League of Legends, please, just even for like 1 second. There are so many people who play that game, and like 0.0001% of them go to tournaments.
And so many less watch it. League is the most played game in the world, and the tournaments get maybe 300,000 viewers. Like, think about the difference between League of Legends and StarCraft in terms of viewers, where a top League of Legends tournament will hit 300,000, 350,000 viewers on Twitch, and StarCraft hits about 100,000, 150,000. But the people that play Brawl heavily outweigh the people that play StarCraft. StarCraft has retained more of its spectators from its players, whereas League, it doesn't. There's 99.99999% of the people that play League don't know about the competitive scene, whereas maybe 75% or 80% don't know about StarCraft. And so we have to sort of look at where esports has already gone and say to ourselves for Smash, all right, how do we dodge what's sort of been gone wrong for them, and what do we do better? And
Yeah.
retaining spectators is something that games like League haven't done well, because you can get mad people to play, but that doesn't necessarily mean a transition into the competitive scene. And I think a lot of that too has to come with direct Nintendo support.
I think League's done a pretty decent job of getting spectators, but in terms of on a whole scale, I get what you're.
I mean, it's
meaning.
important to get the spectators.
Yeah, dude,
because
if
the
you wanna
spectators
talk
become
percentages,
players.
man, if you want to talk percentages,
like if we're gonna
the
break
amount,
numbers out.
yeah, the percentage of people who have entered the competitive scene for Smash versus the amount of copies it's sold is negligible compared to League of Legends and StarCraft. And even if there is a high percentage of people who play those games that don't know the competitive scene exists, at least Blizzard and Riot are trying really hard to expose the players to that. It's like they are behind all the MLGs, all the LCSs, like any major event for StarCraft or League. You bet your ass that Riot and Blizzard are both there in full force, trying to make things happen, and that's what Smash has lacked. If Nintendo was out here, trying to promote us, trying to promote the competitive scene, and dare I say it, the professional scene, because they really could dignify it to that level by getting behind us, then we'd be in a much different place. And again, this is actually part of responding to Mike Hayes' question: how can TOs stay motivated? And I'm gonna say,
but yeah, I totally forgot about that.
yeah, my most important advice is don't get your hopes too high and don't get discouraged when your expectations aren't met. Joe, I know you're a TO, as your name suggests. So do you have any more to say on that topic?
Yes, definitely. I'm glad we shifted the focus back to the question that Mike posed. I think one of the things to keep a tournament organizer motivated in their scene is to actually connect with your attendance. Don't treat your attendance like numbers on a page. Don't treat them like people that are just filling pots. Actually connect with people, make friends, build relationships, get to know the players that comprise of your scene. I think that makes your tournament experience so much more diverse, but also just your experience overall as a competitive gamer. I mean, I can say personally, I've made so many friends through Smash, and through reaching out to the local community, I've also established a solid bond with a lot of dudes there. Those guys pretty much are where my heart is, to be honest. I wouldn't have Toronto in my gamer tag if I didn't really care about my city. So I think in order for an organizer to stay motivated, just keep making events that connect people with the passion that you have. And I think that's the easiest way to stay motivated. If you instill, like, a tournament organizer is someone who breeds a culture for their attendance. It's someone who establishes a precedent, an environment, and an atmosphere for their attendants to enjoy. So if you're able to create an engaging tournament experience for not just a very competitive player, but also a casual player, that's why things like amateur brackets, even just something as simple as a top player sitting down and playing a newcomer without having them have to money match you or anything like that. Just
Right, don't sandbag people, by the way. Don't be a non-esports expletive. Don't sandbag people. Play new players with respect. Play people below you in the skill ladder with respect. If someone is trying to get better, they don't want to play your Luigi. I hate to bring this character up again. Sorry, Luigi, I'm putting you on blast kind of hard.
Yo,
but
it's a year. It's
like,
the year of Luigi, man.
Well, not anymore.
Yeah,
not anymore.
And not anymore. But seriously, they don't want to play like your Ness, like half trying, half talking to your friend. It's extremely disrespectful. Treat new players as if they were your peers, because they are. They're here to get better at the game, just like you are. You're not there because you're some jackass who can kick a new player's ass. You're there because, you know, you want to be able to beat Mewtwo King someday. Let's be real. What if Mewtwo King sandbagged you when you sat down and wanted to get a real game with him? What if he just, like, screwed around, SD'd 2 of his stocks, and then still destroyed you? I mean, it's very, very important to treat every single player, everyone, on the same plane, because outside of that tournament, you know what? You're all the same. Nobody is better than the other. I bet probably some kid that you sandbagged and disrespected is like 20 times cooler than you in high school.
So probably got all the ladies, and you were super jealous of him. And we know you were that guy.
Just, you know, the only way that the community will grow and prosper is if people are treating each other well and helping the game to grow, helping the community to grow. So, brief tangent on that, but we got another question from my boy Kage the Warrior.
Ooh, Kage.
Oh, yes. The warrior spirit. It's so real. It is so real.
Now, the Triforce of Power asks us, why have so few people been backing the free SSBB movement? Now, Kage, I wish I knew the answer myself. I think
Brawlers aren't on Twitter.
Yeah, one is that
there's your
Brawlers
answer, Kage.
Yeah, that is such a godlike answer, Dakota. One, Brawlers are not on Twitter. Brawl players, you need to get on Twitter, man. Like, I did not really enjoy the site myself until, like, you know, some people from Brawl stepped it up and started using it. Now it's actually kind of fun, honestly.
Dude, it's awesome. I got you guys hooked on that, dude. It's
awesome. Actually fun. Interacting with your boys on Twitter is fun. Just promoting for a good cause. Free SSBB, guys. You gotta make a Twitter, post that everywhere. Stay on it. You got to be consistent. Be consistent. Now, another thing is that people have been, you know, using this as kind of a John, that we don't have a direct target for our efforts here, and I think that could not be further from a bad excuse, to be honest, because we know, as we said in the first segment of this podcast, we need to reach out to Nintendo somehow. We know that we can, you know, we can change things if they hear us. And right now we have to be loud enough for them to hear us, and that is something that falls on all of the Smash community. 64, Melee, Brawl, Project M. If you play Smash, you should be out here supporting this game. You know, even just for the fact that it's cool for you and your friends to reach Nintendo. Like, how awesome is that? And the fact that, like, amazing things can come out of it as well. I mean, at the very least, guys, it's an awesome experiment. We should all be trying to do something about this. You know, Melee players, I've seen so much positive support from you know, the figureheads of the Melee community, Prog.
Yo, shout out to the Pew Pew U, who has gone out of his...
Pew Pew U! I was actually about to
I want to shout him out
that
because,
guy's the man.
Dude, this guy
Pew Pew U definitely
tweets about the show. He is here on without even anyone asking him, just here in the chat watching.
Dude, shout outs
like,
to Pew Pew U.
I know he's about to hear this because it's a delay, so shout outs to you, man. We really appreciate your support.
Also, we do have a podcast group on Facebook.
I will link it to him through my Illuminati bot account. Shoutouts to that. Oh, never mind. It's already been linked, so we're living.
Yeah.
Thank you, chat members.
Thank you, Jigglypuff dude, for 20
before we before we move into our last topic, what happened to the special guest? Are they still waiting in the shadows?
What are we doing?
Well, Dakota, you're the owner of the call. You're hosting, man.
Wait, are we wrapping it up? We're not done yet, are we?
Oh no. We're not wrapping it up, but we want to get the special guest on.
Oh right.
I don't even think I have Prog on Skype.
I added him. He is on his way home, and he just accepted my request.
And did he message me? I'm not sure.
All right. Yeah. So way to blow the secret, but yes, our special guest is going to be Prog.
Oh. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was super on esports. That was terribly on esports.
Well.
All right. So let's get the man Prog in there, because who doesn't like words of wisdom from the father of the Smash community?
The ghost of Christmas Smash.
Oh no, I think I have to add him.
Yes.
I think I have to add him. So.
Yes, you do, Dakota. You
What's
do.
his Skype?
While we add, it's at Progducto, same as his Twitter.
Oh. How do I not have Prog on Skype? By the way, I feel like such a fraud. There we go.
But
yeah, while we wait,
while we add him, I have one more question to answer actually from Reddit. I'd like to give a shout out to Meowsy on EUW who asked.
Oh, dude, that dude's awesome. He supports us a lot. I know that guy. I recognize that name.
He supported by asking, does Brawl have a set tier list? And he said he thinks characters like Wolf and Ike should be higher. Brawl doesn't have exactly a set, cemented tier list. I'd say almost no game does, especially because things really get fuzzy toward like the middle of the tier list, and once you move from the very, very top and the very bottom. But Brawl does have a pretty defined good character and bad character list. Meta Knight, Ice Climbers, definitely being the top two. After that, there's a lot of contention between characters like Diddy Kong and Olimar. Then kind of you get into the territory of Marth, Falco, Snake, to some degree Pikachu, Wario. Those are the really, really solid... Oh, Zero Suit Samus. Those are the real solid characters of the game. Mm-hmm. Some of the worst characters, the absolute worst is Ganondorf. We've almost universally agreed. Captain Falcon, Zelda, Link, Jigglypuff, they're all pretty bad. Characters like Wolf and Ike, I think Wolf is pretty underrated. He just falls victim to a lot of crazy stuff in the game. Some characters can infinite him very easily, like Sheik. One forward tilt could be death for Wolf. Falco can chain grab him off the stage and spike. He falls victim to some of the stupidest gimmicks in the game, but they almost all seem to get him. And Ike, Ike just has a slow neutral game. His jab is really good, but his aerials, he does not have good frame data. He can't put out a move fast enough to cover him. Just kind of very lacking in recovery. Same as Wolf, actually. Wolf has a big problem recovering to the stage. So, those are two decent characters who I think are fairly underrated. We've seen some success out of both of them. Shout out to Seagull Joe getting top 12 at Apex 2014 with Wolf. We saw San top 10 at Apex 2010 with Wolf. Top 12, actually, 9th place. He beat G-Ness and Razor, which is just insane with Ike. And actually, shout outs to me for knocking him into loser's bracket that tournament. You can hold that forever, San, undefeated.
Ooh, look who I just saw in the chat.
Yo,
Looks
Max,
like it's time.
I definitely beat San at Apex 2 and knocked him out of the tournament. So it's time. Okay, you know what?
Time?
All Apex bragging rights are out of the question. So
it's time.
Let's bring on the words of wisdom from the man of love.
The man, the myth, the legend, Progducto, who hopefully should be joining our call very, very soon if he hasn't already.
Oh, shout outs to that avatar, PR Rogducto.
Alright, so I just added him to the call. I think.
Yeah, he's in the call, just should be a second.
Oh, word. Alright, cool. So he's in there, let me reset this, LOL. Yeah, so, by the way, I see someone posting in the chat what Free SSBB is about. It's about supporting Brawl and making sure that Brawl has, just as much support as the other Smash games, but it's also about getting Brawl at MLG because Brawl has been not invited. So we gotta step it up. And now we have the man, the myth, the legend, one of my favorite people in Smash, and of course, the awesome, the professor, Prog Ducto. Prog, how you doing, my man?
Nah, we still can't hear him. That was such a grand
That was such a
introduction.
Yeah.
Prog, you're killing me. You're killing me, Prog. Oh,
Prog is killing esports.
it's killing esports.
Alright, we're having some technical difficulties, but Prog should be with us very shortly, guys. In the meantime, all of you
You know
guys,
what?
all you chat
Let's-
monsters, take to Twitter. I want to see some free SSBB tweets, retweets, repeats, whatever the hell it is, man. Just keep going. Just keep posting, guys. You gotta support the cause. We're all out here for one thing, and at the end of it all, it's all about getting video games on the main stage, just like professional sports. We all want to see ourselves, our boys, our girls, our Smash brothers and sisters, man. That's what it's all about. We want to see everyone make it to the top.
Oh, Prog's in the chat. He's trolling us.
Prog's in the chat. Prog's in the chat.
He just tapped
he's
at us,
resetting
dude.
Skype. We're getting him. We're getting him. We're getting him, guys. It's coming. It's coming. You guys are excited. It's coming. He is on his way.
Please go subscribe to Melee Nami so you can use the Prog face.
True. Subscribe, yo. Shout outs to Melee on me. I just want to talk about Melee on me real quick. Melee on me came around like just after my podcast for Brawl DI sort of petered out at the end of 2012 or beginning of 2012, and the Melee on me guy just came in, did some really cool stuff for Melee. I've really been the foundation, I think, of the recent upheaval for Melee. So shout outs to them. Make sure you guys are you follow and check them out. In fact, they go on, I believe, every Thursday. So tomorrow you'll be able to catch another episode of Melee on me if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah, big shout outs to Melee on me. You guys have a godlike podcast name, by the way. State of Brawl. I feel like we could possibly end up changing that in the end, but I don't know. Melee on me is the best podcast name in the world, man. That's so good.
I don't know, dude.
Free Prog. Where is he? All right, keep going. Oh, no, I don't have it. Prog Skype is being lame right now.
He said he was restarting and shouldn't.
If he's starting, I mean, we can move on to the next topic and then close up the discussion with Prog's words of wisdom and then go from there.
We've actually already covered all our topics.
We've covered all the topics.
No. We still have predictions for upcoming big events.
We do. All right, let's mull that over while Prog is loading.
Okay.
So, Dakota, I think you said you wanted to recap Collision first for a second.
Oh yeah, sure. I don't mind doing that. So Collision was this past weekend, and I think I can't remember the town name in New Jersey, but
Saddlebrook.
Saddlebrook. There we go. And Collision hosted by RJ and Smash Tournament, ST. Great group from New Jersey, putting on a lot of the Collision series. I believe was number 9. And we were there, and not the biggest turnout for Brawl. I was really disappointed. I know we talked about this before the show started. Only less than 30 entrants for Brawl, where PM and Melee hit over 30. Also, Chibo wasn't there, so I had to commentate and run the stream at some points. I know.
Hey,
Doom,
me too.
You were doing it as well, so we were being temporary stream masters and commentators, which was fun. I mean, it's great seeing everybody, and there was a really good turnout for Melee and PM. But after the whole free Brawl thing, I was expecting more people to show up. So.
Well, we still got top talent in the area. We had CT0, we had Zero, Vex, Nairo, Mewtwo King, just all the killers, man. And honestly, a big complaint of a lot of players in this area is that our tournament organizers, even though we do kind of have some of the most mobilized TOs and one of the most active Smash scenes, that a lot of our players and TOs do not advertise as hard as they can. And I think, again, a lot of responsibility falls on the Brawl community. You guys got to get on Twitter. You guys got to get on other forums. You got to network yourselves. You guys got to learn how to do that. And it's something that I'm learning how to do and getting better at myself. So, guys, join me on this quest to become better at spamming people on the internet, to be blunt about it. I mean, there's no way that people will be able to, find out about these tournaments unless we're actively, going out there and making sure that people can hear, see, etc. Hashtag free Prog, by the way. His Skype is definitely imprisoning him right now, but we should be good to go soon, hopefully.
Testing 1 2.
Hey!
Testing.
Oh, yay! We got him.
Hey guys,
All
can I
right.
make that announcement again? It is the man, the myth, the legend, one of my favorite people at Smash, and of course, the Professor. Prog, how you doing, man?
I'm doing better now that the call's actually working. First and foremost, again, you guys, thank you for, one, not only having me on the show, but two, putting this on the show. You know, I've been praising you guys since the inception of this, as you guys being movers and shakers, and being the guys that people need to look up to in the Brawl scene. So all the credit and all the love in the world to you guys, as well as Coontail as well, who cannot be here tonight as usual, but much love and respect to him as well.
Word. So, Prog, what do you have to say about all this? Is there anything specific you'd like to start off with? Especially to all these brawlers out here who are really looking for some sound advice from one of the best places to get it from.
Well, I mean, I think it all starts with people asking questions. And the first question that everyone should ask is, what can I do? Not everyone is going to be able to, you know, put together a podcast, put together a combo video to bring hype, things of that nature, but everyone can do something. You know, it takes 5 seconds to retweet something. It takes 3 minutes to put a Twitter account. So if you guys want to be heard, everyone has to come together. So that's the first thing. But one thing that I was talking with Joe about, and I think you as well, Doom, and hello to you, Rapture. I wasn't ignoring you. But one thing that I've been stressing a ton is you have to always look back and recapture the essence and what makes you special. I know personally, I remember commentating Apex 2012, maybe, and just hearing the Brawl crowd erupt from across the room because of M2K losing. And just the whole international scene was something that was major in Brawl, and I think that's been recaptured since then. I think that's certainly one thing to look out for. One thing I've noticed on decline, period, in Smash is the combo video. You know, everyone had theirs back in the day. How good can I be? How many reads can I make in a row? Things of that nature. And with the advent of streaming, it's kind of faded away for quite some time.
Yeah.
However, I did note in the actual the State of Brawl podcast Facebook group, which you guys should link in chat as I mentioned that.
We got you.
It's called a cheap plug. But I did mention that a big shout to King Funk, who a lot of you guys may or may not know.
I know about him. SRK writer.
Definitely know about him.
Yeah, he's a longtime Melee player. Has recently signed on for SRK as one of their writers, and he had a fantastic idea that he shared with myself, Scar, Christmas, D1, a few other people. Why don't we try and bring back that essence? So I think there's going to be a yearly award for various combo videos, best tutorial video, best crew video, things like that. All those things certainly help. And of course, you know, one thing that, even though, you know, we were seeing some interest in the Smash scene from the greater esports community, it's always about building up yourself. We've seen, you know, groups like Clash reach out to Broken Tier, for example. But I mean, a lot of the things that we've seen have been self-started. What you guys have done, especially Joe with Even Matchup Gaming, that's all in-house. Melee It On Me, in-house. VG Bootcamp, Clash, so on and so forth. We've been supporting our own and building our own scenes for years now, as scary as to say that. And it's something that the Brawl scene definitely can do. You know, if you have faith in the local player, sometimes, you know, having a couple letters in front of their name isn't about, you know, throwing a couple of dollars in their pocket. It's about lining up with ideals and things of that nature.
Yeah.
I totally agree, man. It's definitely sad to see the death of the combo video, and I'm glad that people are going to revitalize it. I know that's definitely one of the things that got me into Smash hardcore, is seeing like, wow, this is possible, you know, this many reads in a row, this many consecutive hits within hit stun, or just anything displayed in combo videos. You know, it's really awesome. It's like, you know that you can break this game to another level. And returning to what you said about international, we were talking about this earlier today, it is of utmost importance to reach out, not only internationally, but just outside of the community in general. There are so many people waiting to be scooped up and, you know, involved in this scene. You just have to let them know that it exists. I know we were talking in Prague about a Saudi Arabian brawl community that is apparently thriving, that, you know, does not actually have very good contact with the American, Canadian, European, or Japanese scenes. And guys, if anyone from the Saudi Arabian Smash community is watching, please follow us on Twitter, reach out to us. We're definitely down to, you know, help you guys grow. And as we were discussing earlier, also Prague, something like a good player fund is definitely not out of our reach. I think that definitely helped bring a lot of growth to Melee. A lot of hype was involved with that. And you know, we could do so much more to get people who aren't, you know, the same faces that you see at every tournament coming out. There are countries in Europe that we've never heard of brawl players from. We just saw Haru come from Finland, I believe, at Apex, and apparently he was making some noise. He's a very good player. There's just so much untapped potential, and then even rekindling the relationship with Japan. Apex 2012 and 2013, we had a strong Japanese presence for the brawl brackets at Apex. Even for Melee, there hasn't been a strong relationship between the Japanese scenes and Japanese and American scenes since maybe 2006. So, you know, right now I'm only seeing the Mr. R's, the CT Zeros, Leon, now that he's moved to Canada. I don't know if he still counts, but shout outs to Leon from France, putting in that work, always coming out. But, you know, there's a whole side of the world that Smash has yet to touch down on, or at least competitive Smash. And, guys, if you're out there, please, we encourage you greatly to reach out to us, because we're going to, you know, we want to make it happen for you, too.
Right, and one thing I definitely want to commend you all on is, you know, the free SSB movement, SSBB, pardon me, I forgot the double B. It's more, it's not quite just about MLG. It's about laying the foundation for a future period.
Yes.
And again, just commending you guys, because a lot of people feel like MLG is the end-all be-all, but it's clearly not the case. What you guys are trying to do is ensure years upon years upon years, not just one sum. That's one thing that a lot of people need to realize, that what is being done now doesn't just end in July or in June. It
Agreed,
continues.
entirely.
Yeah, it never stops.
Oh, the cat out of nowhere.
Hi, technical difficulty.
Prog, real quick, well, you know, obviously Melee has been in a similar situation, you know, in the past, and Melee obviously has climbed back. And now that you see Brawl in a similar situation, what would you say to the Brawl players to, you know, change their tune in terms of, you know, the future? You know, because I feel like a lot of people are very doom and gloom, but we've seen that Melee has been able to come back from, you know, the depths of wherever and bounce back better than ever. So what would you say to Brawl players who are sort of feeling a little like, the future's out of reach and we can't do anything about it?
This isn't Chrono Trigger, my friends. There are multiple endings. True. But we all want the good ending, no matter what game we play. If you care about something, you will truly be fighting for it.
Yep.
I spoke with Coontail, and I always refer to a quote by one of my heroes, James Chen. I have my 9 to 5 to support my 24/7. And I mean,
Amen
you
to
guys,
Damn. Amen to that, dude.
you guys see what I do on Twitter for the Melee scene, and I see you guys starting to step up and do the same. Social media has opened up so many doors for Melee, and it's something that we're still not harnessing as a Smash scene, period. Everyone needs to get on it. I mean, I definitely see a growth, especially with PM and Melee, but Brawl is kind of lacking. And, Melee had the same understanding of that last year until we had our crisis with Evolution. And then they understood. And I think that this is a time to just gather up, like you guys are doing with this group on Facebook, like you guys are doing with the hashtag. You know how to align people and get everyone on the same page. So certainly, reach out, let yourselves be heard, and remember, it's not about what happens tomorrow. It's about what happens next week. It's about what happens next month, next year. So that's what you guys are building towards, and I commend you all, and I wish you all the best for it. And again, like I've said, you guys are all heard it in private. Anything you guys need, you know how to track me down.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely, dude. And we endlessly appreciate your support. That honestly comes up at every angle. You do so much. You do as much as many people who actively try to do this from the Brawl scene, and more than many people who, are on our side still. And we and forget about sides. There should not be sides. This is one unit. Let's be real. And at the very least, this is all working toward the common goal of Smash 4 being as amazing as it possibly can.
Yeah,
we need these community foundations from every angle.
This is setting up a foundation for Smash 4. Even if you think as players, this is a very valid opinion to have, that I'm not going to stick with Brawl forever because I want to move on to Smash 4 or whatever. Maybe I want to pick up Melee. This is a very valid thing to have. Everyone's a Smash Brothers player, and there's 5 different Smash games. Well, there's going to be 5 or 6, at this point with 3DS being counted. This is also about creating a good foundation for Smash 4. If we're creating combo videos and compilation videos and all this kind of stuff for Brawl now, this is a great way to set that up for Smash 4. So that way when we get into Smash 4, there's mad people creating, combo videos and compilation videos and interviews and all that kind of stuff. Even if Brawl doesn't last as long as we think it will. And that could happen. That very well could happen. We don't have control over that. But it's very important that we transition and learn from Brawl going into Smash 4, because Smash 4 will, see some improvements over Brawl, and I think we could really take advantage of that. And if we want to see Smash succeed and not fall into the same pitfalls that Brawl did over its 6 years of playing it for so long, then we really have to start, changing our tune and changing our attitudes and changing our act now. So when Smash 4 does come out, whenever it does come out, shoutouts to Ridley and Smash, we can really tackle it properly.
Ridley won't be in Smash.
I see a fantastic quote from someone who was an unsung hero in the Smash community period, G-Town Tom, who, if you guys don't know him, if you're familiar with Smash boards and them doing a lot of stuff with tournament results, brackets, things of that nature, he's been doing so many of those brackets by hand, doing research. He is like one of the main archivists right now in the Smash community, and we definitely applaud you. You should be getting paid for what you're doing, man. It's out of control.
I see him, what he's tweeting out on Twitter, like just going through Brawl's history and like going through all the brackets. No one's told him to do that. No one said, "Hey, you should do this. This is a cool idea." He took that upon
take
himself.
Initiative, guys.
Took initiative, It's all about the esports initiative. Who, by the way, put on.
Shout out to ESI. You guys are
But yeah, it's all about that initiative.
Guys, we're hitting the hour and a half mark here. We've heard from Prog. We've heard from the Cat. We have another guest with us here. We have Mike Hayes from the West Coast.
Actually,
Actually, I haven't really gotten to talk. I've been having technical difficulties. I'm really sorry.
Well, I'm actually going to cut you off because, unfortunately, I haven't eaten dinner yet, and it's about 11 o'clock. So.
Dinner, and dinner is nothing.
No, you're good, Prog. I wanted to ask you one quick question though before you leave us for your delicious food. I was going to say, how did you manage to build such an online presence on your own? Or was it on your own? Like, how did you manage to do all that? I'm not sure if that was already discussed, but I was just curious.
Oh man, I mean, it's just.
You gotta be a monster.
It's just being everywhere I can be. It's just being everywhere I can be. Yep. A lot of people think I'm just a commentator, but I was doing what Clash and VG were doing not too long ago. And as my dryer's exploding elsewhere, it's probably my cue to leave. You guys hear that in the background?
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah, I do.
It's pretty scary. But
Honestly,
yeah,
man,
Be safe.
and guys,
thank you so much.
just you know, building the presence is about networking, and it's about knowing your audience, reaching out to them, and always being responsive. I mean, I just hit 5,000 followers on Twitter. I still try and respond to every tweet, every question asked on FM, and I'm an idiot for doing that. But you know,
But
I'm
man,
doing
it's
everything I can.
amazing. You were that guy who's not too Hollywood for anyone, and I think that's one of the most important things. You know, make sure you don't have an image that you're some Hollywood snob who doesn't want to respond to all 5,000 of his followers.
Hmm.
Oh, I'm Hollywood as hell. But
Sometimes he doesn't respond to me, and I get super sad.
Yeah,
Oh.
Prog's one of those people that favorites my tweets, but he doesn't ever retweet.
Now we're just gonna scrutinize Prog's Twitter usage.
33,000 tweets too. So.
Yo, I'm catching up. I'm at like 25,000.
Well, I still
Yo,
have
I mean-
less than 500.
That's another thing, you know. I'm constantly not just tweeting out what is happening. I'm always setting the stage and setting context. I always talk about the history of players, of events, sets, appearances in media, things of that nature.
You know what I see Prog do? I see Prog tweet things like, "Oh, what was your favorite match from this such and such era?" What was like he poses these questions and creates discourse, and he tweets at people to create, community. That it's not just tweeting the link and tweeting the hashtag. It's hey, pose a question. Hey, mention somebody and start talking.
Right.
Throw in a different hashtag. That's the kind of stuff that Prog does. That's the kind of stuff you guys gotta do as well. So.
You know, I always say lead by example, and I definitely am a student of the game. You know, I watch a lot of stuff from the FGC, a lot of League of Legends players and Riot employees and what they do, and I'm just trying to apply that to Smash. So. But definitely, again, shouts to all of you guys. Thank you all for having me on the show again, and
No problem.
catch you soon.
Definitely.
You will be, for sure. We always love hearing from you, dude, and we love the support.
I might just pop in randomly at some time. But anyway, thank you guys.
Thank you,
Have a good night, and everyone stay tuned. These guys are doing fantastic stuff. And I hope that at Apex 2015, maybe we can do a cross show with Student Brawl and Melee and London.
Ooh, that would be so helpful.
Yeah,
All right.
Smash babies. Dude.
Awesome job,
Good
Prog.
stuff,
Thank you
guys.
again for joining us.
Good
Yeah,
night.
thank you so much.
Free SSBB and one
Prog
unit.
Skype.
Take care.
One unit. One unit.
Unit baby.
Alright guys, and I think we're gonna wrap it up overall as well. We are approaching the 11:15 mark, which is like over an hour and a half.
Yep.
So,
Just want to get some last words from both Nakat and Mike Hayes, who didn't really get a chance to say anything, but you guys get 3 minutes of glory right now. Let's go.
yeah. So who wants
Well,
to go
I'll
first?
be back another day, I'm sure.
Yeah,
is
for sure.
Nakat even in this chat? Is
I think
here
he was,
still?
but he may have
Oh,
lost the call.
looks like he
did?
left.
I get 6 minutes, dude. I'm just kidding. I don't know. Sorry. Hello, welcome. Thank you guys for tuning in. One thing is just like, well, first of all, I want to say thank you guys. Like, I'm so proud of you, Mr. Doom and fucking T.O. Joe. Capture. So proud of you guys for like bringing the community together on Twitter. Like, that's so dope. It's so cool to see. And I guess it's something like I really envy that I didn't really get to push out back when I was playing a lot. But yeah, first of all, thank you guys. I want to interview you guys more so, and that's kind of what I was towards when I was talking to Prog. What do you think Brawl, Smash as a whole? I know like Brawl especially is lacking like on Twitter, for example, or in social media in general. What do you think is something that I guess the everyday, the common Joe, who may not necessarily be an ally, who might not be a Mr. R and ESAM, but just the common player, what do you think they can do to improve the presence on social media?
I think for one, we need to reach out to people who actually do have social media presence first. I don't think we should be shy or get intimidated by people who have more followers than us or are from bigger communities or anything. I know guys like Prog, Pew Pew U, just a whole bunch of Melee heads have just randomly decided to follow me on Twitter because I followed them first and like I was tweeting at them and being active and just reaching out. People will see after a while that you're not just some guy trying to get a piece of their fame on Twitter, and then they'll reciprocate.
Yeah. So it's also being active, It's like I see mad people on Twitter and then they stop tweeting after like I tweet every day. Like it's you gotta tweet every day. You show your activity because that's again what Prog just said. It's setting an example. If someone goes on Twitter and wants to start out being part of the Smash Twitter community, and they go and follow some Smash Twitter accounts, and they see that this person hasn't posted in a week, and I haven't seen this 3SSBB hashtag in a while, you're not setting a good example for those people who are going to come in and join in on the discussion. So you gotta
if you don't
set
have anything
an
nice
example.
to say, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it.
Also, Ridley for Smash. Make sure you're out there supporting that, because that's really what we're here for, guys. It's to get Ridley in Smash Bros. That's what we're here for. He really can't do it himself. He's too big. He can't fit in the Skype chat, so we gotta speak for him. And so good stuff to him. Shoutouts to Zebus. Mike, is there anything else you want to throw in here?
Well, I
Not necessarily.
actually I wanna still answer. I wanna actually
okay,
answer
go for it.
Mike's question. I think the amazing thing about social media is that it gives a voice to someone who is more than just a top player. For a while, because Smash was still lacking in the content department, the only real people that had voices in the scene were the leaders. And a leader, either a head tournament organizer or a top player. Social media gives people that are recreational fans and even competitive enthusiasts a voice in the community, whether it be through creating content, engaging your audience over social media, joining in on the discussion with top players, just overall, just having a presence online is huge, I think, for both a fan and a super hardcore player in the scene, because it's giving you that accessibility that we didn't have back in the day. Just recently, I feel like it's only been 4 or 5 years since we've seen streaming come to fruition in the Smash community. Who remembers going to local tournaments and not even having it cross your mind if it's going to go on? I remember at Genesis, people were like, yo, so where's the stream for this? And the actual organizers themselves said, if you want to see the event, come there in person. The stream isn't a top priority for us. And at the time, we were all cool with it, because no one really saw the bigger picture at the time. It was just purely grassroots. Everyone just was there for the passion. But now that we can spread our message, get the community more involved, get people more engaged, I think social media is just such a great tool to leverage that potential, because you guys are going to be seeing it in the report I post once the podcast is done, but you are going to be shocked with the amount of outreach that hashtag FreeSSBB has had, and who the people are that are spearheading that discussion forward. It's going to open up a lot of eyes. So power of social media is real. It's just a matter of how you use it. Network.
Word.
And that's all I have to say on that.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. And I guess we don't have a lot of time. I would like to come back on a further episode, but with some closing statements, just for everybody to think about. Just be innovative. When I was hosting, I remember I used to host, and I wasn't working. I was a bum. I would just stay home every day. I didn't work and do anything at all, and I needed it. I needed the money. I needed money, so I'm like, dude, all right, what am I gonna do? I need a TO. And I mean, I know that's selfish. And it's gonna sound grimy at first, but fine. I'm cool with that. But I needed it. So I was like, well, what am I going to do? All right, so I started hosting out of my apartment. And of course, at the same time, I had the love for the game. That's what really gave me that drive. But I treat it like I needed it, I really wanted it. And it just makes you be innovative. If you really love your game, figure something out. Do something new. What I started doing, I remember
One stock, baby.
I'm going to skip that subject for now. No, I'm just kidding. No, but really, I will skip that subject for now. But when I moved out of my apartment, or I still had the place, but then we started growing. I had regionals it was a small apartment. We had 80 people come over just because I was advertising, and I was on Reddit every day. I was trying to be innovative. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna go to GameFAQs. I'm just gonna go with GameFAQs and post up
Yes, post in
weirdest people
unconventional places.
who I've never seen in my life. The weirdest people I've never seen in my life would show up, and they're cool people. And then I realized it wouldn't come out again. I'm like, okay, so how do we focus on retention? And that's another subject, obviously, that we need to touch upon. But be innovative, dude. When I started hosting my regionals, I got a venue eventually, and I worked out something, and that happened because I was assertive and I wanted it. And again, just being assertive, going there. I went to the venue owner. He had a small tournament there, and I pitched him, and I was like, dude, I could bring 100 people to your venue. That's revenue for you. Da 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 da. We worked it out. And then I would have 100 people, or 100 for Brawl specifically, 100 people at a regional plus Melee, another 30, and this was happening every month. And the kind of stuff I would come up with, I'm like, okay, cool, we have all these regulars now. Now we have 80 regular people who come every month. Now what? How do we get the new players? So what we started doing as an example, and I hope more tournaments start doing this, like I thought it was a good idea anyway, and it always worked, is $5 off for new players. $5 off. You know, if your venue won't make a deal with you, like $5 off the singles entry fee. That's what we did. So they'd end up paying 10 for the venue, 5 for singles. The top players, of course, are happy because they get more people. The new players are happy, and the mid-level players are happy because they get to play new people. But just little ideas like that, like come up with stuff. I mean, that's just one specific thing, but like be innovative, create new stuff, try new things.
I agree. Oh, just for 1 second, I wanted to bring up tournament format differences as another thing. Yeah, do something like 3v3 crews or something. Like that's huge in Japan, and like Curly Mustache for Marvel, their tournaments run 3v3 teams. Just another thing to think about. Be creative, be innovative, give new players and old players reasons to come back.
No, and definitely so, man. And then like you start thinking of other ideas. Like we would start when I would host Melee and Brawl together. I would do like you get $5 off if you enter both games. So like the Melee players now started joining up for the Brawl singles and
that's an awesome idea. Reduce a venue fee or something for that. Yeah, that's really cool.
Things like that. Like they'll get $5 off of their entry fee. Well, this is what we did anyway. I mean, you find what works for you, but things like that. And then like the Brawl players as a result would start entering Melee, and it just really opens it up for everybody. Because if I don't play Melee or if I don't play Brawl, whatever it might be, I don't want to pay $10 for it. But I might pay $5. Like I'll probably still do that just to have a little bit of fun, try it out. So you start offering little incentives like that. But really, at the end of the day, just be innovative. All Brawl, for example, All Brawl is so amazing. So amazing. But things like that, though, like, I didn't have enough time to run my tournaments. I remember the first, 2 tournaments, and you can ask anyone in SoCal, ended, at 4 a.m., and it was awful. We had, 10 setups, ending at 4 a.m., and then they still wanted to go to Denny's. It was horrible. Horrible. But I figured it out. I'm like, okay, so what takes so long? I found out my problem. Okay, so it takes a long time to seed. So what I started doing was I would run, which a lot of people don't do. I started running doubles first. I started running singles pools first because I wanted to have pools so the new players can get in games, right? Singles pools first, then I run doubles, and while doubles is running, I'll start seeding singles pro bracket. So we would run, 100-man tournaments with 9 setups, and we'd be done by 10 p.m. Just by little things like that. So it's just just find it. Just find it. If you guys want it, you find it. I know I'm preaching the choir when I talk to you guys, but everyone in the stream, if you guys are TOs, just regular players, people who want to be good, who strive for it. If you want it, just do it. You'll find, like Prog said earlier, you'll find a way to do it.
I totally agree, man. If the heart's there, when there's a will, there's a way. And I think that's the most important thing that we all need to take away from this podcast. Not to sound like a pastor or anything, but we as Smash players all have to know that we can do anything we set our minds to, man. We can really produce change within the community, outside of the community. When it comes to our relationship with Nintendo, our relationship with MLG, even Evo, Brawl's not there currently, but who knows? Could change. And Brawl could be featured at various other FGC majors that currently only include Melee, something like that. There's a lot of avenues that we could still reach out to, and that everyone has kind of been slacking on. So let's step it up. Don't lose faith in yourselves or in the community as a whole. We've already proven that we could change Nintendo's minds as long as we're heard. So, guys, it's been awesome. It's a great show. I think I'm about to sign off. I'm hungry as well.
Yeah, so we're going to be signing off here, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us. This is State of Brawl at Podcast Episode 2, brought to you by your boy Rapture. It's T.O., Joe, Max, and Smash Illuminati, and Even Matchup Gaming. Make sure you guys follow us on Twitter. Follow Even Matchup on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch.tv. We'll have the VOD, the replay, the episode up on YouTube later this week, courtesy of Joe. And we'll be back next week with more topics, more State of Brawl. So please, guys, thank you guys for thank you for promoting us and thank you for joining us. But continue to do so. We'll be,
yes,
trying to
please
give you guys,
do. Be consistent.
Yeah, make sure we'll be making sure that we get this is as much content as possible. And if you guys missed the show and you showed up late, well, it was about 2 hours long, so you'll be able to go back and listen to it. So we're going to be sending out. Thank you guys for joining us. We are State of Brawl, and next week we'll be talking more State of Brawl because that's what we're about. So, and of course, thanks to Prog, Mike Hayes, and the Cat for joining us in the show. And the Cat ended up having some internet issues in this area, so we couldn't talk to him very long. But I'm sure we'll have all 3 of these guests plus more on upcoming episodes. So thank you guys for joining us. I'll see you next week on State of Brawl. and keep hashtagging free SSBB. We're here to free you, so we're gonna free you guys now. Peace.
Thank you, guys.
Peace, guys.
Good night.
Peace out, guys.